Hi everybody, it's the Natural Healing Ninjas. Here we are again with Christine,
Laura Lee, and Star.
And Star.
This is our mascot. Gotta have one of those.
Yeah, we were going to talk some more about the election because I think it's coming up so fast. Next week.
It's part 2.
And we're going to, there's so much emotions about it. There's so many emotions. There's so many people that are really having a hard time with this, and so many fears. So much fear is coming up. I noticed that with
anger,
and that's what
fear.
Anger is fear. They're afraid something's going to happen if they don't vote a certain way. You know.
So what we believe and understand is what you focus on is what you're going to create. So focusing on anything disastrous happening is probably not a good plan. But the fact that we're so close to the election, which is today's the 28th of October 2024, and November 5th is the election in the United States of America for President of the United States, and we have sort of a slam dunk situation going on probably. My concern is when the election is finished and whoever's in there, the other half is going to be just beside themselves. So how can we neutralize that for them?
Neutralize it. I like that word, neutralize, because I think that I've seen it pre-election in different places. I was telling you about the farmer's market incident where this man started screaming because he was wearing a KMALA hat.
So you were at farmer's market here in your little town. And you were buying some fruit from a vendor?
A vendor, and this man came up and wanted the vendor to read what was on
his hat.
On his hat, and then he said, you know, we have to stop this evil man.
He was yelling, wasn't he?
He was yelling.
Very emotional.
He was very emotional, and he was yelling above the tomatoes, trying to grab the tomatoes, and he was yelling, saying, you know, we're all going to vote for this person because the other person is such a horrible. And it's divided us so much, and that there's so much anger out there, and it's more on one side than the other. I've seen
it is. I think there's one side that's very, very almost over the top, has almost like a itis, an inflammation, emotional inflammation about it. Like they took something that we didn't, or breathed something in, or
I don't
something.
know.
And I think it might be their news feed, maybe.
The news feed would, I think so, because you know the media out there is very slanted these days, and they're
professionals, the ones that have all the money, they're experts in their field.
The big
what they call MSM. Mainstream media. There's something else.
Mainstream media.
Okay, mainstream media is different from what I listen to.
Yes.
I have to admit, I listen to boots on the ground people who have a passion about freedom and health.
Right.
And
health is our big concern.
Our number one freedom. Without it, forget it.
Right. And our health has a lot to do with our emotions. These people are very upset, and I believe, I think we discussed this, that maybe they also took the jab too.
They do have these things in common. They go to the universities and colleges. They're very smart people because of that. They've taken the vaccinations.
That doesn't mean they're wise.
The jabs, right? And they have a Trump-itis about them. They have over the top. It's like they're very scared.
Yeah.
So their news feed must be very scary. So I have empathy for you if you're scared right now, but you don't need to be. You can shift just a little bit, and that doesn't mean anything but being unscared, and don't be in fear.
Yeah, don't be in fear, because I think what the mainstream media is making everybody afraid. If this person doesn't get elected, then we should all be afraid. All be afraid. The whole place is going to fall apart. And we're seeing that this one person, Mr. T, is moving ahead, and even like I was watching the Joe Rogan show the other day. Oh my gosh, he talked about everything.
Nice.
It was amazing. And didn't didn't put down anyone. He honored people who were wise and smart.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't honor money. He just was he spoke very well of people who are wise and smart, and somebody who's not very smart, he put those persons down because he says, they're not wise enough to carry this.
And you want the right people for the job.
Right.
Because this is a job that's serious because it affects a lot of people.
It affects the world. It's not only America. It affects the world.
And don't think that we Americans aren't doing anything about the situation that we find ourselves in. Because we are.
Yeah.
Like we're doing our part doing this podcast because we want to have healing is where our power is. Because if you are sick, you are powerless, really.
And
you're
your
vulnerable,
emotions have to do with your healing.
and you can be manipulated, and you're just not on your whole game. So
Yeah,
we're
right.
about you being on your whole game.
Right, and very present. And
Healthy and vital and happy. And what we've seen is the power that think they are, I call them, have called them that for
the
years.
deletes.
The deletes, the people who are pushing certain ways of healing that is very much not empowering.
Yes.
It's actually disempowering and very hurtful. And I've been witnessing that for years now as a natural healing ninja. And I would like to do something about it. So Christine and I are doing something about it. And so you can too. I bet you have some kind of expertise out there in wherever land you see this video at. And put it out online or talk to people about it. Stand in whatever you believe in because really we humans know what we want and what we don't want. It's not rocket science at all. It's come from the heart. Ego. That ego thing is really tough on people. They say it's called edge God out. And what that does, if you're in ego, you are motivated by money and power. And you hurt people and things to get that money and power.
And your motivation is fear.
Yes, or greed. Yeah, which is fearful. Yeah.
Yes, because you're afraid of losing something.
Right.
And what are you afraid of losing when we're all abundant? We have abundance.
Like leaves on a tree. Try counting some leaves on a tree. That's abundance.
Yeah, we have abundance. Abundance, it has to be of the light. It can't be, you can have abundance of anything.
Right.
So this has to be of
supportive abundance is what we're looking at.
Enlightened abundance.
But our light's not getting turned off. It's getting brighter, right?
Well, I noticed that the side who is in the most fearful has the most signs out in front.
Depending on the community that you live in.
Because
that's what makes the difference. Now, like I was saying, if we're in a university town or anything, and you have a lot of people who really believe the CNN, the scary narrative.
Yeah.
How are we need to hug them and let them know it's good. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
We got this.
And the man who was at the farmer's market, I don't think he could be hugged. No.
Not when enraged.
He was like very enraged, and he started the enragement right in front of us. It was like no one sparked him. He just started talking.
And that's being in your sympathetic. There's parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system.
Yeah.
So one calms you down, one lights you up.
Right.
So the first thing that you want, if you're going to show people anything, is to get them into the state of calm, and then they're open to learn. Yeah. But if they're not calm and they're all excited and ready to fight, flight, or freeze, that's not a good learning vibration.
That's interesting that you should say that because I just heard that today. It's. I always thought it was fight or flight, but there's a third component, freeze.
Yes, that's what people do. I do the opposite. I go for it because if you're going to go through hell, you might as well go as fast as you can. That's my logic. And if you back down or get fudgy about it, then you're just going to get hammered for a long time.
But you have to keep going.
And in fun, joy, happiness, with the understanding of you don't have to have attached to the outcome necessarily. Just attached to the progress that you're making in your character building. We are love beings. So
and be grateful for even that gentleman who was there yelling.
Yes.
You have to be grateful for that because it sort of opened the people's eyes that were around him. that they were all sort of watching.
There's something wrong here.
It's like, you know, you don't have to be that angry.
Right.
Why are you so angry?
Maybe you can read that thing about the Avengers.
Oh, I was watching The Avengers the other night.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to watch movies because there's always...
button.
Where's the button?
I'll get it. Hey, go ahead.
There's always, I love movies because they have a calm in them. I mean, like a communication of something that we should know. And we're always there.
Yeah.
I always look for something in there that they're trying to tell us, that is trying to be told to us. And you made it. You don't want to hurt that little guy.
No.
So I watch all kinds of movies, adventure movies.
To look for the comms, right?
Yeah,
and the
look for
comms
the
are
comms.
educating you to what? What do you get out of it?
To see what the deletes are trying to get across to us.
Okay.
And even if it's terrible things, it so happens that they have a contract that they have to expose themselves. But if they do it in a form like movies, in a cinema,
They have to get permission. And
they
if you
get
watch a movie,
permission.
you're giving them permission.
If you watch it and you say, well, that's an interesting movie, and not paying attention to it, you're giving permission
Right.
for them to act that way.
And they do subconscious things in
Programming,
Right.
subconscious programming.
Right.
So when I watch this, I get out of the subconscious programming.
Mm-hmm.
I watch and see which comms are they trying to tell me.
Okay.
What are they trying to say here? And so I did watch the Avengers.
Yes.
The Avengers, and it was the end game. It was the last one where all the comic strip. And Marvel is very interesting because Marvel, they've always had comic books.
Yes.
And they were poignant. They always had stories in them, something that's going on within our society at the moment.
It was a way for the cartoonists to explain
Yeah.
what you call like a white hat move.
Yeah, or
Someone
a
who's
calm.
supporting humanity.
Yeah,
Getting it in
communication
there.
and saying, okay, look at
Under
this.
the
Take a look
environment.
at that. Take a look at that.
Right. Because they were in an environment where they were capped or killed or murdered, or they couldn't get their contracts,
right.
They couldn't get in front of a camera, they couldn't get production or anything
Yeah.
unless they went on a certain narrative. But they snuck in those.
I know.
And that's what the Marvel comics were, and then they turned into movies.
They turned it into movies, and
So they're a
all
good
these
thing.
movies about that Iron Man in, of course, Robert Downey Jr. has been compromised, and a lot of them have been compromised.
They wouldn't have been able to be in the game unless they played the game.
Yeah, so they
And
had
it was
to play
important
the game.
to them at
they
the
had
time.
to. Some of them really sold their soul.
They
and
could make amends. I
Yeah.
think, we'll see who washes
We'll
out.
see
I
who
guess.
washes out. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully,
just like that Diddy guy. I mean, he made a lot of agreements
Yes.
for this to happen, so he can expose everyone.
So he's a
In
good
the
guy,
music-
bad guy.
Music
Yeah.
industry, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a bad guy. However, he had to make agreements to do this so he could get arrested, so then all of these entertainment people could be exposed for what they truly are, which are pedophiles and
They're not of this world or something.
Yeah.
There's sort of a story around that, but it's all really interesting and fascinating. And
Yes.
as we make this up as we go anyway, but we're put in an environment that's challenging. Why is it challenging? The Avengers sort
the
of explain it
Avengers.
to
So
you.
the Avengers. This movie was about this really bad Avenger.
Was it
not
the
a bad-
last movie?
It's the last one.
Okay, so
that
it's
they had. So
October
it's a recent
28th,
one.
2024. So.
It's a recent movie, and the bad guy in it, they were chasing him down because he wanted to kill off humanity. He was going to wipe the earth clean of all humanity, which is what's happening right now.
That's what anything organic, leaves, and people's gardens are not doing well, and neither are people.
They're trying to toxify us to the point where we will all die, so that they can start over, or they can have more control over a
smaller group of people.
Smaller group of people.
That's what they
So-
said in the George Guidestone things, but those
Yeah.
are blown up. So
So things are happening
What they
really fast now. What you
Right.
think is really bad, maybe
it's a screen, for the backside of
right,
tricking the bad to get the good in,
right.
which is a
But-
strategy.
Like these elections. These elections have a far more reaching effect than just this person against that person. It's deeper than that. It's
really is.
It's about the human race.
It's like bringing things up to the top somehow.
And it's about the human race because we've been slaves for so many
and we are so
thousands
much
of
more
years.
bigger than that.
Yeah.
It's just really amazing that we are doing as well as we are, considering how capped we are.
Right.
But
we've been
so
captured for a
wonderful.
long time.
Yes.
And now so many of us are waking up to the fact that we are more powerful than any of them.
Yes, that's
And-
why.
And
Yeah,
they're
they know
afraid
that.
of that. They're
Yes,
afraid of that.
'cause they know that.
are afraid of that. The deletes, we call them.
And when we come together and unite, it's over.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're doing here at the Natural Healing Ninjas.
The Natural
So
Healing
if
Ninjas.
you're a
So-
Natural Healing Ninja, just a side note, please contact us so we can interview
and
and bring you into
subscribe
the
to our
situation.
channel and put a thumbs up and make a comment if you have any questions. We have a lot of experience.
Yes, we do.
We have a lot of life experience that we
And we want to share.
want to share.
Yeah, because
and
we
it's-
want people to
it's-
heal.
It's not that we are professionals and we don't have degrees.
I'm a professional.
She's a professional. You're a professional person. Professional human.
That's right. It takes some studying for that, I tell you.
a lot of
doesn't end.
experience in
Yes.
this lifetime.
Yes.
We both had a lot of experience that gives us the mark of the professional.
That's right.
Yes.
Very good.
So anyway,
you wrote
this
a book
guy.
for crumb's sakes.
Well,
Where is your book?
oh, it's somewhere.
Okay, I'm gonna go grab it.
But this bad guy spoke to. I wrote it down because it was so poignant. He spoke to all of the Avengers who are out there who wanted to take him and delete him.
Okay.
And he
This
was
is the bad
fighting
guy.
back like no other, like what's going on right now. All the deletes are fighting so hard for the control of the earth and the control of humans.
Everything through trickery.
They are losing, and they see it, and they're really getting upset about it.
So it's gonna get sort of worse in some spots.
Yeah,
but,
we're
until it
gonna
washes
see
all
a lot
out.
of really.
We got some spot
We have to
remover.
go down, and then we have to come up. It down there in the shadows. That's where we learn a lot about ourselves.
Yes.
And so that's what we're all doing. We're learning a lot about ourselves. And
How amazing.
boy,
we are.
am I, with all of these tree people. Anyway.
Yeah, watch out for irritability.
Yeah, the
in the
irritability
air.
is right up there.
But let's see what the Avengers.
But this guy said
Handle
to
the
them,
irritability.
that we were talking about the earth, and like this election is more than just the election. It's about saving the earth, saving the natural way of healing,
yeah, saving the organics.
everything,
Yeah, anything
and
that
saving
breathes.
humans. And so he says to them, as long as there are those that remember what was, and that's our history,
Okay.
there will always be those that are unable to accept what can be. So what do you think about that statement?
I don't know. What do you think?
That's sort of confusing
Yeah.
because they will resist. If you cannot accept what can be, you're going to resist. We're the resistors.
Okay. So why would we not want what can be?
We would want what can be.
Okay.
And so what he did was he spoke it from the other side of the realm, is what I'm thinking, is that he was saying what is truth on the other side.
Okay.
But he wants the earth to be cleared of all human species because they are bad, he said. And we've
That's so
been
untrue.
we've been human slaves for so many thousands of years, and these deletes want to control us and to have more control over the earth. And they aren't winning. They aren't.
No.
No.
Because there's too many ninjas around.
No, there's too many ninjas
There
around.
really is, in all industries.
Avenger ninjas.
Yeah. Right. So what?
So he said, this is the bifurcation of the earth, and I think
Which means
Dolores
splitting
Cannon,
off.
Dolores Cannon spoke about this a lot, where there's going to be two earths, one where all of this chaos is going to exist, and the other, come on, Mr. Starman. The other is going to be where we live in the fifth dimension and in peace and with love and create through love. So he was explaining that we will resist. We're going to resist.
Automatically, yeah. Can't help
because-
it. Just in our genetics, right?
Right.
Yeah, which I
So-
like it.
So he says, I want to make a new earth that knows not what it has lost, but only what it has been given. So to me that says
Grateful.
all the time, this time, humans have been given things constantly instead of taking responsibility for themselves. They're constantly giving. The government gives you this. The government lets you do that. You know, this person lets you do, and you're always being given things instead of creating them yourself. And that's what the fifth dimension is all about. It's all about creating a new world, creating what is best for the highest good
For you and everyone
for
else.
our heart's desires, for yourself and everyone else.
But there's a responsibility to that.
Responsibility.
So if you're in a mode of hurt, anger, for example, you could hurt other people and yourself in that vibration.
Right.
But in a fifth dimensional vibration, you wouldn't even
It doesn't
you don't even
enter
get angry in the
your
first place.
consciousness. It doesn't enter
Because
your
everything's neutralized,
Right.
because there's total abundance
right.
and everyone's
And why would you fight someone? No.
right. There's no reason.
But the chaos on the third dimensional earth is going to be there because these souls have to figure it out for themselves.
So how did they figure it out? What would you suggest?
Well, what have we done in our lifetimes? We've gone through experience
Yes,
after experience
we have.
after experience,
We have.
even in our karmic lives.
Yes, and we're ready to take it face on. I think that helps.
Yes,
That
yes.
helps. Grounding helps.
Yes, like when you face up to them and say, "No jab for me.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to go there."
Mm-hmm.
And actually stand in that place of strength.
Right, which is just say no.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm sorry, that's not going to work for me. I read the
I've read the-
inserts.
Yeah, read those inserts on every
Read those
medication.
inserts. What are you putting into your body
You're
for
going to
the
be
love
blown
of
away.
Pete?
You're going to be blown away
Yeah.
when you read the inserts. And make sure you break out a magnifying glass.
And an actual dictionary.
Yeah, because they are. Well, I would
They have
to use.
long
Sure.
chemicals in there, long words. The same thing with Takis. We were talking about
Yeah.
Takis, which is a horrible,
Yeah, and
chemically laden snack
Yeah,
for children.
that children love.
Yes.
My daughter loved them too, and I could not. And I knew she was addicted when she just insisted, and we couldn't find them anywhere.
And that's what they're trying to do, is get us addicted.
And then I found them at a liquor store of all places.
Yes.
And I thought, what
and
is
now
up with
they're
this?
our target.
So how old are
Big
your
bags.
Wow, how old are your what's your experience around
Well,
excitotoxins in food around your grandchildren?
I have a grandson who's. I feel really sad for him because he's been fed so many chemicals all of his life that he can't make rash. He makes too many rash decisions. He can't. He's 11 years old now, and he cannot function. He cannot. They keep saying he's got ADD.
Right. They always have to have a diagnosis.
He does not have attention. Well, that's because he's been eating red dye number 40. He's been eating the neurotoxins and Takis.
Hormone disruptors.
And he's been having chicken nuggets his whole life. He will not eat anything else. They finally got him to eat a piece of pizza, I think, once.
Wow.
And so
how can a machine or a body run
and he's
on that?
addicted. He's addicted, and so it's not only ADD, which they like to put him into a box. It's addiction. He's addicted to video games. He's addicted to sugar, which is huge toxin, a huge toxin.
Yes, it is.
And so it's an addiction. So that's where you have to start with an addiction. And my doggy has an addiction with your bag.
That's fine. He's having fun. I'm gonna go get your book real quick.
Okay, so this is the dilemma that I have is to see what he's going through and to see him suffer, because they put him in school and now he has to be in a remedial class. He's so smart, but they put him in a remedial class because he can't pay attention.
Because his social skills are not there.
He cannot pay attention. He's addicted to having the medication. I think it's Ritalin is what he has.
It probably calms him down or whatever.
Yeah, but
there's
once
so
he
many-
gets home, it's worn off. So he's okay in class.
At school. Oh.
But once he gets home,
it's all chaos.
It's chaos at home, and they don't know what to do with them.
So they probably plug them in.
Plug them into another video game.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to hand it to my daughter-in-law. She tries to find things that are outside, you know, ride your bike, you know, play your drums, you know, do anything like that, but you can't have your phone or whatever to play video games.
Start with the basics: sleep, water, food.
To take away that addiction, you have to also take away the sugar, the chemicals that are in the food that he's eating. It all has to do with the foods that you're eating. Oh, for the love of God, look at the ingredients to your foods. Go into the market and read ingredients. If you don't understand what an ingredient is, don't buy it. Don't eat it.
Look it up on your
if you
phone,
see a tomato, what's the main ingredient in a tomato?
Tomato.
A tomato. You know?
And some tomatoes don't taste like tomatoes necessarily.
Well, if they're in a greenhouse and they're not
support your local farmers
organic.
market.
Make sure they're organic.
You'll see the difference when you do that.
Yeah.
But what about doesn't he have a sister? How's his sister doing?
His sister is really having a hard time as well. She doesn't.
How old is she?
She's 15 now.
15, okay. Well, that's rough right there. I'm just going to hit pause and then start.